अवज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तिशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य त्वन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे विघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, and beginning from chapter number 31. So in the last chapter there was description of person who engages in materialistic activities, sinful activities, and how such a person suffers after death, the suffering in hellish planet, in hellish bodies. And then he said that this person goes to the lower species of life and then gradually again comes back. Punar atra avrajet shushi, comes here, which means he takes again human life. So that is being described here now, how one takes birth as a human being, the process, and again the type of suffering which one has to bear. So Lord Kapila, he continues to speak. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Karmana Daiva Netrena Janturdehopapattaye Striyaha Pravishta Udaram Punshoretah Kanashtayaha. By the influence of karma which he has accumulated in the past human life, and by the direction of the Lord Daivanetrena, a living being takes birth here by entering into the womb of a woman, taking shelter of the semen of man. So human body is produced by the combination of male and female, and body functions because of the presence of the soul in it. And the soul enters through the semen, and that's why the samskaras which are performed, Garbhadhan sanskara, are important, because one can induce a pious soul, because the soul is not already there, but it is, and it enters at the time of conception. Therefore it says, Striyaha pravishta udaram punsho retah kanashraya. Striyaha udaram pravishta. It enters into the womb by the shelter or by the medium of the semen of man. So in the Mahabharata or many Puranas, you hear stories where people take birth by some abnormal means or not the natural processes. Somebody is born in a pot, somebody is born somewhere. So it is possible, because the soul can come and then body can develop. But the important thing here, there are two important things here. One is karma and other is devanetra. That it happens by the karma. But karma alone is not enough. It's also the will of the Lord. So that's why it is said that human life comes by the grace of God. Although we have to have the requisite karma to have a human body, but still it's not that is sufficient. God is also one of the factors involved. So that is described here, Devanetra. Under his guidance or by his influence, then the birth takes place. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti, he comments, Ekatrinshaya garbhajanma balya pauganda yatanaha brahvane naiva jivasya bhaktir garbhe api darshayate. In this 31st chapter, while describing the suffering which one undergoes in the womb, and then the suffering of birth, then as a baby, then infant, Lord Kapila, he shows that how it is possible to do bhakti even in the womb. Because bhakti is described here as sarvatra sarvada, or that which can be performed anywhere, everywhere, at all times. So this is an example which will be given here, that even in the womb, which is not a place to do anything, bhakti is possible. That's why it is called apratihata, unobstructed by anything. Punar avrajayat iti yuktam. In the previous verse, the last verse of the previous chapter, it was said punar avrajayat, that he comes back again. Tat prakaram darshayati. So the process of taking birth here is being described. Karmana prachinena devam ishvara. So karmana means the old karma, which means the karma which one has earned in the previous human life. And Deva is the Lord. Tadeva netram netri pravartakam. He is the leader or guide. So Paramatma, he is the guide for this birth. Tena pravishto bhavati. So by his guidance, then the soul enters into the womb. Kalalam tu ek ratrena pancharatreena budbudam दशाहेन तु कर्कन्धो पेशीयण्डं वा ततः परम् मासेन तु शिरोद्वाभ्यां बाह्व्यङ्घ्रियादि अङ्गविग्रहः नखलोमस्ति चर्माणि लिङ्गछिद्रोद्भवस्त्रिभिः चतुर्भिर्धातवः सप्तः पञ्चभिः क्षुत्रुडद्भवः षड्भिर्जरायुणा वीतः कुक्षौ भ्राम्यति दक्षिणे. In these verses there is a description of the gradual development of the body. That in one night there is kalal, which is just a mixture of the two liquids of male and female, sticky liquid kalal, and pancharatrena tu budbudam. In 5 days it becomes like a bubble. Dashayahena tu karkandu, and in 10 days it becomes the size of the karkandu fruit. See the badri, the bear. Now it's available in the season. So it becomes that size. And peshi andam va tataparam. And then it becomes a ball of meat. And if it is for a bird, then it will turn into an egg. After 10 days. Masena tu siro, and in 1 month the head is formed. Dvabhyam bahu angri adi angavigraha. In 2 months hands, legs, etc. are formed. Nakhalo mastis charmani lim chidrod bhavastri. And in 3 months there are nails, hair, bones, skin, and also the gender and the holes of the senses, they appear. Chaturbhir dhatva sapta panchbhir chutrudhodbhava. And in the 4 months the 7 dhatus, which means on this blood, meat, skin, bone, marrow, all these are formed. And in the 5th month, the feeling of hunger and thirst arise. Sadabhir jarayuna vita kuksho brahmati dakshina. In the 6th month, the baby is covered with the womb and moves to the right side of the belly. So again there is not much commentary here, just giving the meaning of the words. Just one point he makes here, that Dakshina Kukshaviti Purusham Adhikritya Uktatvat Pungarvo Dakshina Strigarvo Vamiti Prasiddha. That when it is said that in the 6th month he moves to the right side of the womb, this is referring to a male child. If it is a female, then she will move to the left side. Matur jagdhanna panadyair edadhatu rasammate shete vimutriyo gatim sajantu jantu sambhave Krinivhi kshata sarvanga swapo mariyat pratikshanam murchamapnoti rukleshas tatpratyekshulatairmuham. So now the description of the suffering is given, that what happens to the baby. So he already feels hunger and thirst, and therefore he gets nourishment from the food which the mother eats. Matu jagda annapanya dev edat dhatu asammati. But he is not in a very happy situation. He says that he is lying in this place which is full of stool and urine, and in which other jantus little worms are also taking birth. So with them he is there. Jantu Jantu Sambhava. And he is bitten by the worms. Krimi Bhikshat Sarvanga Sakumariyat Pratikshana. And because his body is very tender, so he feels great pain. And he becomes unconscious time and again. And in this way suffers great misery. Tatrattai chulitai muhu. The worms which feel hungry there, then they try to get their food from it. And he is not able to do anything. So I don't know what the modern science says with this, whether they agree with it or not.
That in the womb of the mother there are worms?
No?
And also stool and urine in the womb.
No, next to it.
And next to it, maybe there are separate canals or something.
Yeah, they're separate compartments, but not very far.
No, very near.
Just like you fill up plastic with stool and urine and you sit next to it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Only a little bit of skin separated.
Yes. Very fine skin.
Mm.
And that also transparent.
Oh my God.
So it's not a very suchi situation. It's quite muchi. Suchi hoy, muchi hoy. Yay Krishna bhaj. Yay Krishna bhaj. Muchi hoy, suchi hoy, yay Krishna bhaj. So the worms, they are hungry there and they bite. So I don't know how they bite. They are probably biting through their own covering. From there they can bite. Like sometimes you have mosquito net and still the mosquito is biting. And the mosquito net touches your body. Then the mosquito comes, sits and bites. Cannot enter inside, but still you can throw the needle in and suck the blood. So the worms can also do that. They can puncture it, small needle, take the bite, and feel happy. कटु तीक्ष्ण उष्ण लवण रुक्षाम्लादिभिरुल्बणैः मातृभुक्तैरुपस्पृष्ट सर्वाङ्गोत्थितवेदनः. There is also suffering from the food which is eaten by the mother. See, it's very spicy food, especially if you are in India. Or very hot food, too much salt, or very dry or amla, acidic food. Then all these things goes and touches the body, and there is great pain because of that. उल्बेन संवृतस्तस्मिन् अन्त्रैश्च बहिरावृतः आस्ते कृत्वा शिरकुक्षौ भुग्नपृष्ठशिरोधरः. So the baby is completely covered from all sides by thin covering, and he has his head bent towards the legs. So there is one asana called Garbhasana. You know how it is?
Child's
Jara. You know that? Garbhasana? No? You have to put your both legs on the shoulders and bring your hands out and hold your ears. What is it called?
Karnapida asana.
Karnapida. It should be actually called Pristhapida. Pain in the back. So that is the Garbhasana. So babies, this is called Garbhasana because this is how the baby is in the womb. Because there is not much space there. He cannot stretch his body. He is bound. He has to make most economic use of the space. So therefore Bhugna Prishta Shirodha. That his back is bent, head is down. Akalpaha Swami Cheshtayam Sakuntaiva Panjare. And he is incapable of making any movements by himself, any endeavor, because he is tied. Just like a bird in a cage. And sometimes the cages are big so bird can fly. It's not a big cage, small one. So like you catch this chuha, rat in the trap. And it's a very small place, cannot move much. Tatra labdha smritir devat karma janma satodbhava. So there, by Deva, by the will of the Lord, you can remember 100 lifetimes what he did. Karma janma sato, the karma of 100 lifetimes. Smaran dirgha manuchvasam sharma kemna vinnate. And then he is taking long breath. Like when you suffer or you sigh in pain, and he gets no relief from anything, from that situation. So again, there is not really much to comment here. Etad dhatu riti nadi chapyani nam nabhyam tasya nibadhyate. So he says this nadi is tied to the navel. Strinam tathantra sushire sanibadho bhujayate. And he is tied. Kramante bhukta pitani strinam garbho dharitata. Through that he is getting his food. Tairapi aita deho so jantur vruddhim upayati. So being nourished by that food which is coming through the navel, the baby grows. दैवात् पूर्व कर्मवशात् दीर्घं चिरकालं व्याप्य अनुश्वासं यथा भवति. So sometimes he can remember the past life. आरभ्य सप्तमान मासान लब्धबोधोऽपि वेपितः नैकत्रासते सूति वातै विष्ठा भूरिव सोदरः. So he says that from 7th month onwards, the baby attains consciousness, becomes aware of things, and does not stay in one place, being pushed by the suti vata, the air by which one takes birth, or the air which pushes the baby out during birth. That air becomes active and keeps on moving the baby here and there. So just like the worms in the womb which are also moving, like that he also moves here and there. Suti hetubhir vatai vepitas chalitasam sodara samanudar janma vishtahu. So these worms which also take birth inside the womb, they are called uterine brothers of this baby because they are together, called Sodar. So he is with them, he is not alone at least. He has some company. नाथमानय ऋषिर्भीतः सप्तवध्री कृताञ्जलिः स्तुवितः तं विक्लव्या वाचा येन निरोपितः. So at that time, this baby who is called here as Rishi, he prays to the Lord with folded hands in a faltering voice. The Lord who has put him in the womb, and he is tied by 7 ropes. So 7 ropes are these 7 dhatus, Mas, Majja, Medha and so on. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and also Jiva Goswami both have written a long comment on this verse. And one of the points which they both are making is that it is not that everybody remembers the 100 lifetimes, and therefore it is not that everybody prays to the Lord. It is only some rare person who remembers and prays. The word here used is Rishi. The one who is praying, he is called a sage. Rishi means sage or seer. So everybody is not like that. So he makes Nathmana Bhagavad Kripa Mai Bhuya Iti Swasmin Ashisham Kurvan. So praying to the Lord that may I receive the grace of the Lord. And Rishi means Atmadarshi, one who knows the self or sees the self. Bhita Samsarat is fearful from the material world. Saptavadrayo Bandhan Bhuta Dhatu, who is bound by the 7 elements or dhatus, of the skin, bone, marrow, blood, all this fat, it's all around him. Viklavya Vihlaya Tam Stuvita Garbhe Vidhyade Sambhav Abhavat. So he prays. Now Stuvita seems like a potential case, as if he is being asked that one should pray. This is not Langlakar, Stuvit. So he says that there is no question of an injunction in the womb. It is described as if one should pray, but there is injunction is not possible, because you can give an injunction to somebody who has the ability to execute it. So baby actually has no ability to execute such an injunction. Therefore, he says that this vidhyade sambhava bhavat, that it is not possible for this. Iti phale ling tatascha yo bhagvantam bhajeti iti heturatra gana. So he says that only someone prays that, and that's why it is being described like. Tena cha yo bhagvantam bhajet satam garbhe api stuvita iti anyo jivastu na stuvita. So there is one tense in Sanskrit which is a peculiarity of Sanskrit. It is called Hetu Hetuma. That something like if you say, if it will rain, then I will not go to the market. So here, your going to the market is depending on whether it will rain or not rain. It is a conditional statement, cause and effect relationship. If it does not rain, then you go. If it rains, then you don't go. So he is utilizing the same sense here. When it is said that he prays or he should pray or he will pray, it means this, that one who worships the Lord, only he can pray to the Lord in the home. That means somebody who has performed devotional activity in the past. Only that person can worship. तस्यैवस्तु वानस्य जीवस्य अग्रे संसारो वर्णिष्यते वर्णितस्य न तो भगवन्तं स्तु वानस्य. So the person who has not worshipped the Lord, he will not pray. And this description here and later on is of the person, such a person only. That means there are two types of people who take birth: those who have some devotional bank account and those who do not have. So those who have devotional thing, they will remember, they pray, and the others do not. It is for this reason that the word Rishi was used here. So somebody like Jada Bharat who has to take birth, so he will remember his past lives, and is described in Bhagavatam. And the others, they don't remember, and it is their situation which is being described here. अकामादपि ये विष्णोः सकृत् पूजां प्रकुर्वते न तेषां भवबन्धस्तु कदाचिदपि जायते. So why he is making such a conclusion? Because he says that in the scripture there are many statements such as that if one performs the puja of Lord Vishnu even once without any material motive, then they do not undergo the bondage to the material world ever. Iti sakrideva prapanno yas tavasmi iti cha yachate abhyam sarvada tasmai dadami etad vratam mama. This is a statement from Ramayana, which is spoken by Lord Ramchandra. And I think it is in the episode where Vibhishana, when he was insulted by Ravana because he was trying to give him good counsel and Ravana kicked him. So he leaves Ravana and comes to the camp of Lord Ramchandra. But when he comes there, then all the people there, Sugriv, Hanuman, Angad, except for Hanuman, but the others, they surround him and they obviously become very apprehensive because he is the brother of enemy. What is he doing here in the camp? So they approach him and he says that no, I want to take shelter of the Lord. So they bring him to Lord Ramchandra, but they advise him not to accept him because he is brother of enemy and could be a spy. So then Lord speaks this sentence, Sakrideva prapanno yas tavasmiti yasti. Says, if someone says even once to me that I am surrendered to you, then I give him freedom from all fear. This is my vow. And no matter, even if my enemy comes and says this to me that I am surrendered to you, please give me your shelter and I will make him free from all fear. इत्यादि पर सहस्र वष्ण विरोधात अतएव श्वेते विष्णु मूत्रियोर गर्तयति मूर्छामाप्नोति उरुक्लोचयति आस्तं कृत्वा श्रेयत्यादि वद 10 मास्य जीवो हरिम स्तौति इति वर्तमान प्रयोगो न कृते किंतु जीव उवाच इति भूतकाल प्रयोगे. So he says that there are many hundreds of such statements that one who performs devotion does not have to suffer the miseries of birth, etc. So he says, therefore, when it is said, Shete Vilmutra Garta, he sleeps in this ditch full of stool and urine, Murcham Apnoti attains unconscious state, Urukleshaiti Astam Kritva Siran is hanging there with bent and Dasmasya Jiva Harim Stauti. And in the 10th month he worships. So we say that here Jivo Harim Stauti ti Vartman Priyogo na Krita, that he has not used present tense. So very minute analysis he is doing. When you use present tense, then present tense is used in different senses. One simple sense is that somebody goes, and you say that he goes and he leaves the room. So this is a one-time action. Somebody is sitting here, he stands up and he leaves the room. But if you make a similar statement that he goes to temple, in the morning he goes to temple. So when you say in the morning he goes to temple, it does not mean that he goes to temple only one morning. Although you are using a present tense, it means that in the morning, in every morning he goes to temple. Although you don't use the word every. Right? At 7 p.m. we eat dinner. So we don't say that every day at 7 p.m. we eat dinner. It's also present tense. So this signifies a regular thing which we do regularly. So this is a peculiar or specific use of present tense. Here present tense is used in the sense of something which is done repeatedly.
Sun rises in the east. Sun rises in the east.
Yeah, the sun rises in the east. Not that it rises only once. Like I say, he gets up and goes. He's doing it only once. Not that every day he's doing it at this time. So here when it is described previously, all these statements, they were in present tense. That he sleeps in the ditch of urine and stool and he feels the pain, he becomes unconscious. So this is used. So this is called Jato Ekvachana. That here singular, first of all, singular case is used and present tense is used. So present tense signifies something which happens repeatedly and singular tense signifies something which applies to the whole class. Means it happens with everybody. That means everybody goes through this kind of state. But when it was said that he remembers his 100 lives and he prays, then the present tense was not used. Then he says Tuvita. So that is an imperative case, a potential case, which he said signifies hetu, mat or lam, one specific. So with this he is making a division between these two. That one is a description or general description, that this is how what happens to people in general, and the other is a description of a specific person. That is the point he is trying to make here. So therefore he says that he would have said that in the 10th month, the Jiva, he prays to the Lord. So he should have said, Dasmasya Jivo Harim Stoti. But instead of you saying Harim Stoti, he used the word Stuvita. So this which is not matching with the earlier descriptions. So he says, Vartman Priyogo na krita kintu Jiva uvacha iti bhutkal priyogo eva. But he says that Jantur uvacha or Jiva uvacha, that Jiva said. Not that Jiva says. You would have said Jiva Bhakti. Right?
Yes.
So if you would have said Jiva Bhakti, then means everyone does that. But he is not saying that. So that means only some rare souls, they remember and they pray. Tena cha purva kal bhava kasyit bhakto jiva eva harim stuvam asin na tu sarva iti artha vyapade. So this indicates that only some person who had done devotion in the past, means who is a devotee from the past, purva kal bhava kasyit bhakto, who has been a devotee in the past, only such a person prays to the Lord while being in the womb. Harim stuvana asin asita natu sarva. This is the meaning which comes out of this. Ataiva niruktapi patanti. Therefore, the niruktakar, Yaska, he also says the following. Nave sarvang sampurno bhavati, that in the 9th month the full body develops, iti patitva. Then he says mritaschaham punarjato jataschaham punarmrita iti adinam. And then he says that I died, then I took birth again, I took birth, then I died again. And then he says avang mukhya pidyamano jantu shaivam samanvita sadhyam yogam samabhyaset purusam panchavinshakam tatascha dasme masi prajayate. So with face down and being troubled, the jantus chaivam samanvita, who is in this situation, then sadhyam yogam, I think it is sankhya, not sadhyam. Then he practices sankhya yoga and or worships the Purusha, which is the 25th. 25th is the Purusha, there are 25 elements. And then he takes birth in the 10th month. इत्यादि गर्भोपनिषद वाक्य मात्र वा शब्द बलात् कश्चित कर्मी जीवो मृतश्चाहं पुनर्जात इत्यादि पूर्व पूर्व जन्मात्रं स्मृति कश्चित ज्ञानी सांख्यम कश्चित योगो योगम कश्चित भक्त चतुर्विंश प्रधानात् परम पंचविशम पुरुषम परमेश्वरम भैसेत भक्तेरिति पूर्वभ्यस्तमेव गर्भे स्फुरेत इति युक्ते. So he said that the word "why" is used here, which means option, or the word "or" in Sanskrit. In English, in Sanskrit we have "va." So he said this by the strength of the word "va," which means "or." The meaning is that there are some jivas who are karmi, and they also have to be pious karmi. Then they may remember that I died, I took birth. Then I died, I took birth, like this, because 100 lifetimes or something. Then there may be some yogis, and they will remember about yoga and practice yoga, means meditation. And then there are Gyanis who will practice their Sankhya, because Sankhya was mentioned there, Sankhya Yoga Samabhyaset Purusham Panchamaskam. And then there are devotees who will meditate on the Lord, which is the 25th element. So Bhaktariti Purva Abhyastam Eva Garbhaspa. So meaning is that whatever one has practiced, whatever type of spiritual practice one has performed in the previous life, that only one will remember. That also if one has practiced it up to a higher stage, then this will be remembered in the birth. And then one is born with that. So he said this is understood from this yukti. So Nathamana Rishir Bhita Sapta Vidra Kritanjali Stuvita Tam Viklavaya Vacha Yunandre Arpita. So that's why the word Rishi is used here specifically. That this person can see. This means his past samskaras are activated. Memory, because memory comes from the samskaras. And in Nyaya there are 16 ways, right? 16? Then the samskaras can become good. They become activated. When you see something similar or at a certain time or by some past karma. So here also by the influence of time and of course in Lord, the samskaras, they are activated and one remembers. So from the next verse, there are prayers of the Jiva in the womb. That will do tomorrow if there is any question. So you must have all done this prayer. That's why you have done Bhakti now.
No, I was just, so this whole description of the child remembering devotional or spiritual activities performed in previous lives. So this like refers to the yoga prashta described in the Gita. When it
Yes,
doesn't,
something similar.
and not just to somebody, let's say, who has eaten some prasadam or attended a...
No, there has to be strong samskaras.
And on the other hand, there is all these descriptions in the Shastra that one chants Hare Krishna once and he is saved and so on. How
Yeah,
do
if you chant and then there is no offense, the offense part also is there. So if you chant, you are saved in the sense that you will not suffer like other materialistic people.
So that means only that little thing is remembered by the baby in the womb? Or?
Well, if there is a deep samskara for that, otherwise it is not necessary, because if there is a strong offense and that offense covers, and only when you have gone through that result of the offense, then that samskara will again come up.
So also the aparadas are remembered?
Yes.
Since you already mentioned modern science, so I was wondering what happens now to a baby who is born or made born very early, which we have all the time now in modern medical world after 6 months or something.
He bypasses the prayers.
Yeah, but he's also not in the terrible situation of being, in the stool and urine and all, and the worms and all. This is in a clear, clean hospital situation.
I'm saying he bypasses all that.
Does this mean now a good situation or a bad situation?
Depends on what situation he is. Of course, he is also in unnatural situation. Unless you create, because everything, baby is there, but there is also something natural, the warmth and the feeling and the liquid in which he is hanging, which doesn't give him any shock.
There are babies, they are just all together grown in the test tube. And now it has been seen that they grow up very normally and become normal human beings.
So then they're free from all this trouble. They also must have some sukriti to get rid of this trouble.
And there are people who are taking birth after the 7th month. But you were saying when this air becomes activated, then
But all those who take birth after
push
the
them.
6th month,
yeah.
they also they can survive any time, or I don't know,
But for example,
3 months, 4 months.
But there are babies to grow up all together in the test tube, they never see the mother's womb, right?
I have a question, but if I may, I have a comment too. It's a very little known fact what starts the birth process. I learned this in chiropractic college. It's a hormonal secretion from the pituitary gland of the baby. So the baby knows, the baby's already coded, knows when is the right time to come. So anything else is really a travesty. It's really an invasion of the natural process and has lifelong effects. That's the comment. My question though, you talked about remembering if you had past spiritual practice. My experience when meeting my guru was an instant recognition of something, the likes of which I had never seen before, and I have to not lose track of him. But I had no conscious recollection of any past with him, although he told me I had long passed with him, many lifetimes. So, is there a kind of memory which doesn't come into our conscious awareness?
Yeah, of course, there is a lot. What comes in our memory is very little.
But we know it somehow on the cellular
Yeah,
level.
there's so much recorded, but only a very little fraction which comes up.
in the case of the Guru, it's not something that the Lord gives this inspiration.
And so he's asking about, of course, right from the beginning we read that karmana devanetrena jantu deho pupatti. It happens karma and also devanetra means by the influence of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says matta smritir jnanam apohanam. Remembrance, forgetfulness. It also says that remembrance, smriti, come by my influence.
I can just add one little thing from the circle of my relatives who happens to be a doctor. And one of his sons was born under medical situation, mother almost died, it was a question of seconds. So he was artificially born, so to speak. Whereas all his other brothers are normally born. So that baby or that child that has been born with the help of hospital and medicine, which was very easy, there was not that struggle of birth. So they told me that this boy takes everything very easy in life. Whereas the other boys who have struggled to get out of the womb to start with, they also take things much more serious than the child that has been just,
That's the imprint. That's the imprint. The birth has a lifelong imprint.
So that's an interesting thing. So it seems that this process of going through the pain of birth is kind of essential for the struggle through life.
No, everything has some good side and bad side. So bad side is the pain which we are saying, and we are saying, well, it is good that he bypasses all that. But this also prepares him for the life outside. So that is the other side of
So
the
with
coin.
this good karma, then you mentioned if somebody is born easily, in whatever circumstance, that's good karma, but
They have a problem. That's good karma as far as the birth is concerned.
it may be difficult later on.
But
Because,
then later on something else catches up.
Prabhu, you said that not every baby remembers the 100 lives and has the prayers. Did you say that was from a commentary? Or where did that information come from? Was that in Bhagavatam?
Yeah, I'm reading Bhagavatam.
Was it in Bhagavatam? It actually
This
says.
is a commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti.
Okay.
And Jiva Goswami also comments in that. Yeah. I'm reading the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti.
That was actually going to be my question, but then you answered it. Like, does every baby remember and have prayers? So it's very rare, actually.
Yeah, it's very rare. 1 in a million. It's as rare as Bhakti. Because only those who have done some spiritual practice in the past, they will remember, not otherwise. So that's very rare.
So another question about the time of the, let's see, how the soul enters into that particular body. Who's going to be the bed? So how is that this particular soul goes in this particular moment to people?
That is, as you said, that karma and devamitra, these are the two factors which are instrumental in birth.
Because you say also that a pious soul can be attracted, right? Or
Yeah, so that pious soul also has to have karma to take birth from such pious people.
Mhm.
It's not that you can just attract anybody and create karma for them. So that's why those who have very pious karma, they don't take birth commonly or so often, because it is very rare for them to find suitable parents. So therefore such births are rare, because suitable parents also have to be available to give him birth.
Where would those souls reside without a body before finding the right
There's
person?
plenty of space. He doesn't need much space.
In this atmosphere somewhere?
You can hang anywhere.
Hang on.
It's 10,000 tip of hair. That is just to say that how small it is.
the Daiva factor means Paramatma?
Yes, Paramatma.
In Upanishad it is mentioned that on the 7th month, the Simanam Vidarya Pravishati. यहाँ पे एक बोले हैं ना Brahmarandra. Through that Brahmarandra he enters at the 7th month. Then becomes conscious.
Consciousness. Entering is already there. What it means is that consciousness is introduced into the body.
Means at the 7th month, all the sensory organs are completed.
Yeah.
Then he will
Body is complete. Like complete body is actually at 9th month. And all the limbs are made by 9th month. But up to 7th everything is also there, not completely mature. And that's when consciousness comes. So sometimes things are spoken that Jiva enters in that time, which means becomes conscious, because if he is not conscious and still he is there, as good as not being. If you sit in the room and you don't speak, then it's as good as you are not there. And then at a certain time you start speaking, so we can say, well, now he has entered the room. So you were already there, but now you actually become functional. So that's why and that becomes conscious at that time. Okay, so then we'll read the prayers tomorrow. So tomorrow is Bhandara at Maharaj's place. Everybody is invited there.
Time is
Yeah, after 12, usually 12 o'clock.
In Kaligar.